new. Philippines buys another 40 fast warships, complete with fierce weapons from France. The approval for new patrol craft comes as the Philippines faces rising maritime threats in the South China Sea. The Philippines has approved the purchase of 40 fast patrol craft worth 25.8 billion pesos, $450 million, seeking to bolster maritime security as tensions with Beijing in the South China Sea linger. The National Economic and Development Authority Board, chaired by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., gave the green light for the purchase, which will be funded by assistance from the French government, the Economic Planning Agency said in a statement on Tuesday. The project aligns with the government's objective of enhancing maritime security by upgrading the capabilities of institutions such as the Philippine Coast Guard, National Economic and Development Authority Secretary Arsenio Balasacan said. The Philippine Coast Guard has sustained damage to its vessels in the past months due to tense clashes with China in disputed waters. The Marcos administration has stepped up efforts to assert the nation's claims in the South China Sea, which Beijing claims almost in its entirety. The typhoon-prone nation also approved extensions and cost increases for 2 flood control projects, which will get supplemental loan from the Japan International Cooperation Agency, the National Economic and Development Authority said. The board also approved the 27 billion peso Philippine International Exhibition Center project, which aims to boost tourism through meetings and conventions. Meanwhile, an official from the Philippines military said on Wednesday that joint naval exercises, held frequently with the United States and other Western powers, were helping rein in aggressive Chinese actions in the South China Sea. Beijing has for years sought to expand its presence in the disputed waterway, brushing aside an international ruling that its claim to most of the sea has no legal basis. In recent months, China has deployed Navy, Coast Guard, and so-called maritime militia forces, allegedly Chinese fishing vessels, in a bid to bar the Philippines from a trio of strategically important reefs and islands in the South China Sea. But those efforts were absent during the 10 instances this year when the Philippines, United States, and others were conducting joint patrols, dubbed Multilateral Maritime Cooperative Activity, MMCA, the Philippine Navy said on Wednesday. During the conduct of MMCAs, there have been no observed coercive and aggressive actions by the People's Liberation Army Navy, Coast Guard, or the Maritime Militia, Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, spokesman for South China Sea issues, told reporters on the sidelines of a Manila security forum. The lull was observed for a few days before and during, and a few days after the exercises, he said, adding more joint naval drills could be expected in 2025. Violent encounters with Chinese vessels typically occur during Philippine resupply missions to its remote garrisons in the area. While Washington and its allies have avoided taking sides in the territorial dispute, they say Chinese actions threaten freedom of navigation essential for trade. Multilateral and bilateral naval exercises help buy time as we continue developing our capabilities, Trinidad said on Wednesday, noting it was a great challenge given the Philippine military's limited equipment. He also said that the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which groups Manila and 9 neighbors, was not doing enough to support the Philippines or international law. Fellow ASEAN members Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Vietnam also have claims overlapping Beijing's in the South China Sea, but others in the bloc have closer ties with China. Trinidad urged ASEAN member states not to suffer in silence in the face of Chinese actions. The Philippines' decision to acquire 40 fast patrol craft from France marks a crucial step in its ongoing efforts to bolster maritime security amid increasing tensions in the South China Sea. This purchase, backed by French government assistance, reflects Manila's growing commitment to modernizing its naval forces and countering aggressive actions from Beijing. The Philippine Coast Guard has repeatedly faced confrontations with Chinese vessels in disputed waters, leading to damage to its ships and heightened risks for its personnel. By securing these new, heavily armed patrol craft, the Philippines aims to improve its ability to protect its territorial waters, conduct surveillance, and respond more effectively to any incursions. The move also aligns with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s broader strategy of asserting national sovereignty and strengthening ties with international allies. Meanwhile, joint military drills with the United States and other Western allies have proven to be a crucial deterrent against Chinese provocations. Philippine Navy officials noted that during the recent Multilateral Maritime Cooperative Activity, MMCA, exercises, Chinese forces refrained from their usual aggressive maneuvers. This suggests that a sustained international presence in the region could serve as a countermeasure to Beijing's expansionist tactics. However, challenges remain. The Philippines still faces significant gaps in military capability compared to China's advanced naval fleet. While the fast patrol craft enhance coastal defense, Manila will need further modernization efforts to maintain a credible deterrence. Additionally, ASEAN's divided stance on the South China Sea dispute limits the regional bloc's ability to present a unified front. As tensions continue to rise, the coming years will likely see increased cooperation between the Philippines and its allies. More naval drills and defense partnerships could help maintain stability in one of the world's most contested maritime regions.